We open on the gates of Mammoth Studios, soon to be torn down and replaced by a super-duper market. How far does the real villain go? We will never know. Welcome to Mysteries in the Machine.
Hey yo, meddling kids! I'm Charlie,
And I'm Ethan.
and ayo, it's another Scooby-Doo episode. It's Sandy
Tis.
Duncan's Jekyll and Hyde. Do we know Sandy Duncan?
The only time I've ever seen Sandy Duncan in reference or in appearance, well, actually that's not true. I've seen her referenced on the late 90s sitcom Home Improvement because my dad likes it, and I saw her on The Muppet Show.
Of course.
That's about it. Listen, that's how I'm going to know most of these people, because they were celebrities in the 70s, so...
Valid. She was in Fox the Hound, the Disney movie?
She was? Okay, then I've
Vixie.
seen...
She was the female
Oh, okay. Then I've at least heard her voice in
Yeah.
other things.
But guess what? I actually saw before I saw this episode of Scooby-Doo. I saw the
What?
sequel episode.
What?
Because Sandy Duncan comes back in Scooby-Doo and Guess Who?
She does? Was she
Yes.
still alive?
Yes, she is still alive.
She is still alive. Okay, I thought she died.
No, she's only 78.
That's not... I mean, that's old.
It's old, but...
Yeah, but she's not, like, super old in terms of how old people can be.
Yeah. But I saw her sequel episode in the show that's basically, like, an homage to this specific series of Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo and Guess Who. It's one of the most recent of the Scooby-Doo shows. And it brings back the, like, celebrity guest star / fictional guest star media.
Okay.
And it's a literal direct sequel to this episode. I don't remember it too well because I've only seen it once. But it was like, she's making a remake of this movie.
Wild.
She's remaking her own movie.
That's crazy. I've never seen Be Cool Scooby-Doo or Scooby-Doo and Guess Who, either of them, but I do like that they lean into that again. I
enjoyed that show because, like, yeah, again, like, it's an homage to, like, one of the shows that I like, and I like the style of it, and I don't know, it was just like, it went back to some of the basics of Scooby-Doo compared to some of the other shows.
Oh, this is recent.
Yeah, it's very recent.
Very
it's like
recent.
The most recent compared to the show that shall not be named.
We're not going to talk about that.
Exactly. That's why I didn't name it at all.
Sean Astin?
Yeah.
Carol Burnett, Steve Buscemi, Cher, again. Love that for him.
I was going to say, the only two people who reprise their roles are Sandy Duncan and Cher.
Joey Chestnut. I love that. Kevin Conroy, the best Batman of all time. Ooh, don't like Jeff Dunham, but that's okay. Tim Gunn and Gigi Hadid. Very interesting there. Some of these people I haven't heard of. Mark Hamill, of course. Legendary voice actor.
Mm-hmm.
Macklemore. Love that. He probably wasn't doing anything at that time. Chris Paul, basketball player. Very nice. Axl Rose.
Yeah, it was a mix for me of, like, who I knew and who I did not know, even in that one.
Of course, Weird Al was on there. Why wouldn't he be?
Absolutely.
But amazing. Love that.
Some of the best episodes, though, were, like, the ones with the fictional people, because there's Batman episode again.
Hell yeah.
There's a Sherlock Holmes episode.
Is Benedict Cumberbatch the Sherlock in that episode?
I don't remember who plays the Sherlock in the episode. I'm not gonna lie. It's just
Okay.
basic ass Sherlock Holmes.
Okay.
And there's also an episode with Wonder Woman.
The animated Wonder Woman from, like, the Justice League cartoons?
Yeah. Oh, and the Flash too. Literally
Nice.
just like a bunch of the Super Friends.
That makes sense.
It's good shit.
Amazing.
But yeah, we're talking about the Sandy Duncan episode today.
Yes.
Which I guess the other thing that I at least have heard about her, because I didn't see it, but she was apparently in the Broadway revival of Peter Pan, which is like one of the things she's most known for.
Yep.
I knew that about her. And I think I knew that because of the sequel episode.
I knew that because of Home Improvement.
There you go. All right, so
anyway,
let's get into this. I'm still confused why the gang is here. I'm not gonna lie.
I think they like booked a tour,
because it feels very unclear in the episode why they are there when they don't seem to know any of these people. They're not lost, but they are like, oh yeah, we're going to visit the studio, and they just so happen to be filming.
I mean, you can visit like the Warner Brothers like backlot if you and like get a tour if you want to. In theory,
yeah. I don't know. We never meet a tour guide.
True, we don't
run into Sandy Duncan and we're like, okay, there's a mystery. Let's go, guys.
Yeah. Listen, suspension of disbelief is essential to enjoying any media. So
true. Fred knows where he's going for once. Except he kind of still gets lost a little bit.
But unimportant.
It's a backlot. We're going around the world, but like in 80 seconds. I
have not thought about that in a long time.
I know that's like the title of like Around the World in 80 Days. So
yeah.
Also, for some reason, we couldn't even name the Taj Mahal. It's like the Taj of whatchamacallit, is what they say.
They name dropped the Taj Mahal in there, which, like, do you know what the Taj Mahal actually is?
Yeah, it's
okay.
There's a bunch of dead people in there.
Yeah, it's a tomb.
It's a tomb. I love a giant.
There's a lot of big structures related to dead people that are just tourist attractions.
I mean, they're all created by dead people too.
I mean, yeah, but like, there's dead people inside them. Like, think about it, like the French catacombs with all those skulls, right? You got the Taj Mahal. You got the Great Pyramids.
People love dead people.
Yeah, I mean, Kelly likes true crimes, so
people love dead people, whether they were murdered or just buried.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not wrong.
But, you know, they pass a bunch of, like, historical landmarks, and they're like, oh my goodness, we're going past all these things. And then, suddenly, we've, like, gotten so turned around. They nearly go over a fucking bridge, because there's this guy in white who's being a little weirdo.
Yeah. And they almost go off the bridge into this fake river. Huh?
It's so fucking weird. But, like, little guy in white might be my first shenanigan.
I would agree, because he just, like, scurries around.
Like, several times in, like, the first few minutes of this episode, it's just, like, guy in a white outfit just being a weird gremlin.
Yeah, just be a weird little guy.
And then it gets, like, so many more levels of what later on.
Yeah.
But, you know, the gang's just like, okay, we'll leave the car here, and they're filming. Let's see who's filming over there.
Yeah, because that's something you can just do.
Yeah, just walk onto a film set. Exactly. That's why I'm like, it's unclear what's happening. But... So, Sandy Duncan is running away from our guy in white, terrified. And then she meets the gang. She's like, what?
I would be terrified too if a guy dressed in all white was trying to kidnap me.
Yeah. I mean, as you should be.
Also, typically, people who are dressed in all white don't necessarily go after people like me, but still not a great sign.
Boy!
You know I'm right.
I didn't need reminders about this right now.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I could not help but think of that. I couldn't help but think of
My
it.
brain was going to what this gremlin man reminds me of, and it's the faceless costumes of just like the where you're dressed in one entire color.
A morph suit?
Yes.
The only
My
reason
brain
I
was
know
going
about those is because one year I was going to dress up as Slender Man for Halloween, and I tried to get one, but I couldn't find one.
There you go. This man is like Slender Man / morph suit person. That's what my brain was going to for Guy in White, was like something like Slender Man
Yeah.
instead. So she's terrified, she's running, she runs toward the gang, and she's like, hello, I'm not actually acting, there's a guy chasing me. And Scooby sees him, Scooby gets scared, and jumps into her arms. And
Which,
now we
like,
have our plot line of Scooby being in love with her.
this is one of the weirdest fucking things I've ever seen in a piece of Scooby-Doo media. It is reverse bestiality, is what this is.
Reverse bestiality. Oh god. I mean, I feel like that's less creepy than regular bestiality, at least.
I would agree with that, because Sandy Duncan's a consenting adult, and he's a sentient dog.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It just felt weird to me a little bit.
I feel like the way they're trying to frame it, rather than like he's romantically in love with her, is that like he would gladly trade Shaggy for her. I feel like that's what
Oh,
it's supposed to be, but it does not come off that way.
not at all. Not even
Yeah.
a little bit. Because, like, you don't make hard eyes at, like, a best friend. You know what I
Yeah. But like,
mean?
I mean, Shaggy's his owner, and like he's a dog, so like,
Yeah.
I don't know. There's just like something that's like missed there because he's sentient, and
Yeah.
it's like, are you treating him as a person or are you treating him as a dog?
I don't
They're
know.
kind of missing what it is.
Yeah.
But I think that's what they're going for. If they're not, then fuck all.
Yeah.
So they go onto the set, I guess. And Sandy's like, I'm not usually scared of things, but like this guy was, being a creep.
Yeah.
And then we meet like so many different people here. This is
Yeah,
like a
because let's see.
large cast today.
Yeah. Well, we meet her stunt double, Shirley.
Yeah. Who conveniently is wearing hair that looks just like Daphne's.
What a coincidence. That won't come up later.
Yeah. And then we meet like, what is it, the owner of this place?
Yeah, the
and
owner
like
of the
the
studio and the
director.
director.
Yeah.
And her co-star and his stunt double.
So we meet white man number 1, white man number 2, white man number 3,
Pretty much.
white man number 4.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, there's more people. There's so many people. I mean, granted, at least this is an episode where I feel like just like the last episode, we have a bunch of people that it possibly could be.
Yeah.
You know?
I do enjoy they're giving us more potential suspects, right?
Yeah.
Because in my mind, for a mystery, that's always a good thing.
Yeah. The only thing that's throwing me off is the amount of people dressed the same way.
Well, that's kind of how that works.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I understand it. And just every time I watched it, I was like, who's talking? What's happening here?
I mean, Sandy's face is drawn differently than her stunt doubles, but that's really about it.
Specifically, Sandy Duncan is drawn to always be smiling in a very big way.
Yeah, because her face is always like both rows of teeth smiling.
Yeah, so, but it's just like if you're not fully like, if you like look away for a second, and you're like, wait, who's talking? What's happening? Who's that? Okay, the voice is different. The face is different. I get it now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're all chatting.
They're going to set. We get another shenanigan when Scooby basically faints after Sandy Duncan pats him on the head.
Yeah, we certainly do. Listen, Scooby and Sandy Duncan. Can't with this.
Now, granted, I do love a good pat on the head or a good head scratch. I typically don't act that way.
I mean, I do it because Abby thinks it's cute.
Yeah.
There's a difference. Okay, so weird shit is happening on the sets. There's been weird happenings going on, and we get some of like the drama that's been going on as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like how the stunt guy does not like the guy, what's his name, Duke Slats. The stunt man does not like Duke, who is the co-star.
Yes.
And then which one of the guys is like trying to save money? It's the director.
Yeah, it makes yes.
Yeah, the director wants to save money, and the guy who owns the studio wants the publicity.
Yeah.
Presumably to try to save the studio.
Well, considering they're tearing it down to build a supermarket, I wouldn't blame them.
Yeah. So like we have some like motives. We have some stuff going on once again.
Yes.
And then we try to run some shots of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And little gremlin white man, little guy, is here causing mayhem.
Yes.
And seemingly try to murder Sandy Duncan
by pulling a lamppost on top of her.
I don't know. Like he's trying to do some shit here. I don't know what the plan was here.
Okay, here's the thing. Later on, when he mistakes Daphne for Sandy, right? He doesn't kill her, he kidnaps her. So maybe he's trying to knock her out?
Maybe. I'm just like, I feel like this guy really needed to figure out what his plan was, like a bit better. Just a bit better.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's got like a whole rig where he's like gonna pull the lamppost, he's hiding behind a bush, and Scooby sees him. Scooby's like, oh no, Sandy! And as she's running toward that spot, while she's trying to, act for the cameras, he jumps in front of her, stops it from falling on top of her.
Yeah.
And the guy has mysteriously disappeared. But you can still see the ropes, you can still see where everything was. It's like,
Interesting.
Shit, guys. There are also definitely some jokes in this episode that I did not get. Like, I think
same.
Not Daphne. Sandy was trying to make some kind of joke about the lamppost.
Yeah. Well, a lemon is typically a term for like a product that just doesn't work.
There you go. I just didn't get the joke.
Yeah.
Because that's what she was calling the lights, I guess.
Yeah.
But as soon as this happens to Sandy, where she like almost gets hurt, surely her stunt woman quits. She's like, no way. No how. Not doing it. If there's an attack on her life and I'm supposed to look like her, nope. Goodbye. And that's where we realize, okay, this is where we have to use Daphne because she already has the hair. It's not like it was going to be Velma or Shaggy. I feel like Shaggy's the other option, but he's a little too tall.
Here's the thing. This cannot have been a SAG production, right? Like, there's no way they can just pick a random person off the street, say, "Hey, you're gonna be a stunt double now."
Where's your what's the words? Something of disbelief. Yes.
Suspension of disbelief?
Yeah. I'm having a rough time here, okay? Leave me alone.
It's okay, Charlie.
Where's your suspension of disbelief, Ethan? You were just telling me.
I know.
But yeah, so now we have a different person who has to look just like Sandy Duncan for Charlie to get confused. But this time it actually is Daphne. So.
So it's fine.
So everything is all fine. And then I guess we fix what happened to the car, because the car is now not hanging off the bridge.
Love that.
And we have to figure out what was going on with this lamppost. Where did the guy go? And Scooby's gonna explain it all, because he's the one who saw everything happen. He's like, oh, it was right here in this bush. But guys, it's a bush. What's so special about this bush, Ethan?
There's a trap door under the bush.
Yeah, this is weird, guys. This is some weird shit.
I mean, it's a film set, so it's not unheard of for a trap door to just exist.
Yeah, and of course when Shaggy and Scooby are trying to look through this bush, that's when Gremlin in White just flicks a switch and then traps them under there.
Well, he's also like staring from inside the building next to the bush. Did you
Which is
notice
also
that?
weird. Is no one seeing this man?
I guess not.
But yeah, there's a big tunnel down there, and the rest of the gang cannot hear them. It's like, okay, well, what are we gonna do, guys? Guess we gotta go through the tunnel, because we can't get back out the way we came. It's locked.
Can't go over it. Can't go under it. Can't go around it. I guess we'll have to go through it. You're welcome.
Don't remind me of the children's songs I used to hear constantly, every day.
It's too late.
I don't
The damage
need
is
this
done.
again. I don't need to go on a dragon hunt.
Oh, I thought it was a bear hunt.
Oh, there's bear hunt, there's dragon hunt, there's so many of them.
Okay. I only knew about the bear one.
I heard both, back to back.
I'm sorry.
So, Shaggy and Scooby are going through the tunnel, and then there's only one way out, and suddenly we are in the desert. And this is where we start with the racist costumes for the episode, it would seem.
There are several. There's at least 3.
This is generic Arabian, presumably.
I guess Middle Eastern, not necessarily Arabian.
Middle Eastern, yeah. I mean, technically, I guess you would wear at least the head covering, regardless if you're in a desert, though. That's like one of those things. Because it keeps the sun off you.
Yeah, it keeps sun off your neck, keeps you from getting sunburnt, so.
And then they find, like, this little like, car.
It's a dune
like,
buggy,
Jeep.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's a dune buggy, you're right. They find a little dune buggy, and they're going through the sand dunes. Ha ha, ha 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 ha. And then they find the pyramids. We're at the pyramids.
Everybody go listen to Of the Eldest Gods, Charlie's other podcast, where they're currently covering the Red Pyramid by Rick Riordan.
Ah!
This is the second week in a row this has happened.
If Egypt is referenced at all, listen, I took a picture of some Legos yesterday because I was like, it's the pyramid. Always the fucking pyramids.
I actually do want that set.
I was just like, damn, this is good. This is a good set. I would get this. This makes sense.
Now, once they go into the pyramid, we get more shenanigans.
I should say first, like, the fucking blocks just open?
Mm-hmm.
So they could go inside. Why? Why?
I don't know. It just happens.
I think that just happening might be a shenanigan. Because I don't know what's happening anymore.
I counted it.
So we crawl in, and then, yeah, Shaggy thinks this is like, I don't know, some kitchen, some dining room of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
I'm confused at why. Is it because the people in the drawings have food in their hands?
That's what it appears to be.
And he's like, oh, he's calling the Egyptian hieroglyphics a menu, and he's like, oh, this is the weirdest menu I ever saw.
I mean, I'm sure there's a menu in hieroglyphics out there.
Oh, probably. I also have questions about the sarcophagus.
Why does it have a coin slot?
Why? I think that's shenanigan.
It is.
Why does it have a coin slot? So, yeah, Shaggy puts a coin into the sarcophagus, presumably thinking this is also going to give him food. And then it's a mummy. He's like, oh my god, it's a mummy! Scooby's like, oh, it's not my mummy either. And so now we're running away. And then there's another mummy at the other entrance. I'm so confused. This is only supposed to be one guy. This is even, like, more than... Was it a gaggle of galloping ghosts?
Gaggle of galloping ghosts, yeah. I definitely got that vibe from this episode for sure.
Yeah, that's the vibe we're going for today. So, there's a mummy at the other entrance, and then we turn back, and then there's 3 doors. We gotta pick which door we're going through. Which door are we gonna go through? Well, the mummy opens up the door and lets them through, and now we're just in a room.
Yeah, they're just trapped now.
We're trapped. Well, fuck.
Except one thing. There's a doorway where 2 eyes are staring at them.
That there is. But not just any 2 eyes. The eyes of a lion.
Yeah, because lions in the desert, that makes total sense.
But it's okay. It's just a robot, because it tries to pounce on them, and then it goes immediately into the freaking wall and dies.
Just explodes into 10,000 pieces.
So that happened, and then they escape out the same door that the lion was in, and then they go back in the dune buggy and they're gone. So that happened.
Meanwhile, Fred and Daphne are in, I guess, the Asian section of this backlot.
Yeah.
No idea where Velma is in all of this.
Yeah, I'm wondering where the heck Velma went.
Yeah, where's my girl? Where'd she go?
She probably lost her glasses and is stuck somewhere.
Probably. I wouldn't put it past her.
Or she was like, I don't know what's happening today. These guys are off their rockers with the shenanigans. I'm gonna go, I don't know, read a book.
He would. So they find a guy who they assume to be a guy in charge of props, but I guess he's just a pirate.
Yeah, he's just some pirate. He tries to throw a net on them. It doesn't work.
These are shenanigans.
Yeah. So net is
especially what happens next with the fucking cannonball.
Yeah, and then he goes on a rope and gets out in front of them.
Yeah.
And Fred throws a cannonball tries to throw it onto him, presumably, but instead throws it in front of him. It breaks through the ground, and then there's, water coming up.
Yeah.
And now suddenly this man is just stopped dead in his tracks because there's water.
What is he, the Wicked Witch of the West?
I'm so confused. So they run away.
Oh yeah, I guess around this, well, it would have been, I guess, last week when this episode was released, but Wicked's coming out.
Yeah, Wicked is out.
Last
Isn't
week,
it?
I guess.
Yeah. That was cool.
Yeah.
I need to see it.
Same.
Oh yeah, okay, so then we get the fucking dragon. And I'm so confused now, even more than
This is
before.
not a dragon. This is not a dragon. I'm telling you that right now. It doesn't have wings. It's not a dragon.
Dragons don't have to have wings.
Okay. Asian dragons do not need to have wings. This is a European-inspired design here.
Then what is it then?
Okay.
It's a big lizard that breathes fire. What do you call that? Also, for some reason, its feet are webbed.
Reasons.
And that's throwing me off.
That is referred to as a...
them.
Yes, it's a drake. That's what it is.
Okay, it's a drake. It's just chasing them every which way with fire. And it's burning shit. That's not really good. It burns some plants. And so Fred's great idea is to throw firecrackers at it.
Another shenanigan, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So fucking, he throws that at it. It lights the firecrackers, lands on his foot, and it's like, oh no, I'm falling. Meanwhile, this thing has been piloted by a pirate this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a different design than the other pirate that's been chasing them.
Yeah.
I know this is an animation error, but it's getting on my nerves.
Well, inside the cockpit, it's a different one, but once he comes out, it's the same.
And that's why it's even worse. If you change your pirate costume, I get it. But then you changed it again.
Why?
What's happening, sir?
And then the dragon stumbles backwards into the ocean, I guess.
Yeah. They killed the dragon with firecrackers. Defeat fire with fire, I guess.
That's Fred's logic. They also see the pirate again, and they release a bunch of barrels on him, I guess. What is going on?
I don't understand this episode. More than any other episode so far.
Yeah.
I think it's because we have so many settings that we can choose from that they were like, ooh, we need to use all of them. All
right. And Velma's by herself, looking for everybody.
Yeah. And then suddenly the same fucking pirate, is behind her. And she's running.
The way this man tries to sneak up on her is so funny to me.
She's running so fast, then she runs past Fred and Daphne all the way into this, like, fake water feature, I think. Mm-hmm. Is it fake?
Yeah, it's the... I think Fred says it's the Shanghai set. I don't know.
So Fred and Daphne have to help Velma out of the water.
Because I guess she can't swim.
Canonically, Velma cannot swim. Ethan, you heard it here now. I guess your Velma can't swim.
I guess she can't. Listeners, Charlie and I did finally figure out what classes each member of the gang is, and Velma, well, you'll have to find out
at some point. At some point in the near future, that might be released, perhaps.
Indeed, mayhaps.
But now we're just gonna have to keep watching to figure out what little things we need to add to the characters.
Yeah, because I guess she can't swim.
I guess you're just gonna die if you go in water.
Yeah. It's fine.
Velma's swimming speed, 0.
Yep. Velma just fucking drowns, I guess.
I guess so. So they get her onto a boat, and then the pirate guy pushes the boat out into the water. So they're just drifting for a while till they get to they drift for a while, and then they start to get paddles? Yeah, suddenly they just have paddles. And this is one of the moments from the intro.
Yep, where they're paddling a boat while standing up.
I always wondered about that as a child. I was like, what episode is that from?
Was this one not on the DVD? Not. Okay.
No, this one was not on the DVD. I had to watch this one on Max.
Okay.
And then I watched it several times for this to try to understand what the heck was happening.
Yeah. So now we get more shenanigans from Shaggy and Scooby as Shaggy is running blindfolded because Scooby's hanging on to him by the top of his head somehow.
Yes, that is a shenanigan. And then, second shenanigan, when they run through
the wall.
The wall itself and do the whole, like, oh, it's a whole of them. And suddenly they're in a tree. But you know what? We run into the rest of the gang as well. So it's okay.
Yeah. At least now everybody's back together.
Yeah. And they explained that they were being chased by King Kong. And apparently they were on some kind of miniature set of New York.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Cool. And now there's just a bear.
And it's not Yogi Bear, as is clarified.
But, we're in a different setting once again. And now it's winter, I guess. We're doing a sled thing. Scooby is the dog sled.
The sled dog?
The sled dog. Whatever. Yes. Whatever. And we go from winter mountains thing to suddenly we're in a desert, but like a different... We're like in, cowboy territory desert.
Yeah.
Where there's a ghost town and some shit. And hey, look, there's the Three Stooges. Oh wait, I did a funny.
Charlie, we went through this already. And the Three Stooges are going to be back again later, so like...
Yeah, they are. I would rather the Three Stooges than what we get, okay?
That's fair.
Because instead, then we get our evil Native American coming after us.
Our second racist caricature of the episode. Though I will count Velma ducking her. I will count Velma ducking her head into her sweater as a shenanigan to avoid getting shot at.
I was gonna say that was beautiful.
It was.
Listen, she did a dex saving throw.
Fucking ace that shit.
Seriously, I think that was like a rogue reaction or something.
Yeah, an uncanny dodge, if you will.
Yes, there you go. Okay, so now the gang has been split up into 2 different buildings right next to each other, but they don't know that. Yet. Shaggy and Scooby are in jail, and they're trapped in there. And then Smart Gang is also trapped, but they're trapped in the bank.
Mm-hmm.
And then they slowly realize as they're talking to each other, they're like, what? Why do I hear something? What's that? Like, it's like right over there behind this wall, and it's like, oh, it's the rest of the gang. We're trapped. So I guess they sleep in there instead of trying to get out.
They're just like, we're tired. We're gonna take a nap.
They sleep until 7 a.m.
And they start pushing on the wall.
Yeah.
They start pushing against each other on opposite sides of the wall, and we get a repeat gag of sorts from last season where the wall starts spinning around.
Listen, it only happens the once, but it spins all the way around, and then we've destroyed the building.
Because that's how that works.
Listen, it's fine. This whole place is going to be demolished soon. So...
So they did their job for them, is what you're saying.
Exactly. Absolutely. So they got out of the building, and then suddenly Sandy Duncan and the whole rest of the crew is like, hey, we were looking all over for you guys. Where were you? And so they catch her up on what's been happening and how weird this whole time has been. I will say, the amount of shenanigans that happened without Sandy Duncan, kind of sad.
Yeah, I wish she'd been there for more shenanigans. Because Jonathan Winters, he was there for all the shenanigans. And in fact, he had some shenanigans of his own, which made it that much better.
Exactly. He created his own shenanigans. I don't think... I mean, there are definitely some guests that create their own shenanigans. But yeah, I feel like...
Batman and Robin did. Don Knotts definitely did.
Maybe...
The Addams Family really didn't. And that's what's disappointing. But, oh well.
My brain is just now thinking that, like, a lot of the female characters are not doing that as much. The female guests are not doing the shenanigans so much. And the male guests are, like, being little goofballs.
Yeah.
At all times.
Let the women be goofballs.
Let women be weird little guys. 2024.
Weird little guy's state of mind, so...
Listen, I'm not male, but I'm a weird little guy.
Yeah, I mean, in the way that addressing a group of people as guys is gender neutral, that's the same thing.
Exactly. Correct. Alright, so I guess we're going back to trying to film this fucking movie.
Yeah. Which might I say, not a great adaptation of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde if he's actively antagonizing a person. It
isn't?
I don't remember him antagonizing, like, the female lead as Mr. Hyde. I could be wrong, though.
So fun fact, I have not actually seen nor read Jekyll and Hyde, but I have watched the OSP video about it.
I have also done those exact things.
I've just watched the OSP video. That's all that matters.
Yeah. That's
because
really
it actually tells you what's happening in the book, rather than all the adaptations.
The best version of Spark Notes you can get.
Yes. I highly recommend Overly Sarcastic Productions over Spark Notes.
Yeah, shout out Red and Blue over at Over Sarcastic Productions. Would love to have them on here for whatever they want to do.
Listen, I feel like they would be great at Scooby-Doo things, because they make their own shenanigans over there.
Indeed they do.
Alright. So, I guess there's a scene with Hyde antagonizing Sandy Duncan's character, and each of the gang is trying to, like, spy on different people and watch them to see what's happening. Like, because we're trying to see who is this weird little guy who's been running around this whole set. So we gotta keep our eyes on every single actor at all times.
So Velma's watching the cameraman, Shaggy's watching Hyde's stunt double, Slat, I think his name is.
Yes.
And we get another shenanigan as Velma and Shaggy's butts bump up against each other.
Yeah.
When she's backing away from the cameraman, because he's like, "Girl, you are too close to me. Go away."
Exactly. I do find it interesting, actually, because in so many adaptations of Jekyll and Hyde, it does seem like they just go with straight up different actors.
Yeah.
And in this, they're making it seem like Jekyll and Hyde are played by the same guy.
I mean, the thing with Jekyll and Hyde, from what I have seen, is that Hyde doesn't necessarily look that much different from Jekyll. He just, personality-wise, is like completely the opposite. But they have to differentiate him somehow.
Yeah. I mean, from the OSP video, I remember it being exactly the opposite of what you're saying.
Really?
But that they look very different, but that his personality is not actually different. He just lets out his inhibitions.
Yeah.
Like, Jekyll is just your classic Victorian man who's super duper repressed and wants to be able to let out and, like, be unhinged for a bit. So he's like, I'm gonna take this potion, I'm gonna change what I look like, so that way I can do those things that I want to do that are not appropriate by Victorian standards, and no one will know that it was me.
Okay, I am wrong. Hyde does look different.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, usually I've only technically seen the Once Upon a Time version, but I did know that, like, they usually have different actors play them.
Yeah.
Because of, like, they're supposed to look different. Oh, Hyde is supposed to be like this tiny little gremlin man, and Jekyll's supposed to be your, respectable, handsome Victorian man.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's literally just the difference of letting out his inhibitions.
Yeah. Anyway, that adaptations aside.
Yeah, I just thought it was funny. I was like, oh, interesting choice. They're playing they're playing the same character. So as we swap between Sandy and the other actor who is playing Hyde, Duke. We switch from Sandy and Duke to the stunt double versions, which is Daphne and Slats. But Slats doesn't make it onto the stage. Instead, we get mysterious gremlin dude. This is just his name now.
Yep. Gremlin Man.
Dressed as Hyde.
Yeah, and the director's like, no, you're doing it wrong. Which I think that's a shenanigan in and of itself.
Oh, yeah. Like, first, he literally shows up and he grabs Daphne, but he runs toward the set so that no one will be the wiser, I guess, on what's happening. I don't know. And because then they have, like, she's running away from him. Oh, they're, having a struggle. And then suddenly they have both disappeared. And all that is left is a little message. And everybody comes around the building to see if they can catch them. But they don't. They just find the like, fucking, oh god, what's it called? Serial killer note. This guy left. Because it's even got, like, the little cutout letters and everything. And he thinks he grabbed Sandy Duncan. Because this ransom note is for Sandy Duncan.
For all he knows, he did.
Yeah. And our gang cares about Daphne, so they're gonna go look for her. And now this is where we get some Sandy Duncan with the gang. She has now replaced Daphne.
Daphne replaced her. I think this is perfectly logical.
Exactly. She's the stunt double for Daphne.
Exactly.
So Scooby finds the trail of Weird Gremlin Man, and there's a trap door. What's happening?
Well, but Scooby opens it by straight up bonking into this fence post, basically.
Yeah, that he does. So he's found it. They all go down into another tunnel, because we didn't have enough tunnels already in this episode.
Yeah, these are not secret tunnels. These are definitely tunnels people know about now.
I was gonna do the song, but then you were like, people know about it, so I'm like, well, I can't sing Secret Tunnel.
But these tunnels may not be secret, but we do find one.
Yeah, that's true. We also find a jacket just laying on the ground, because he's doing a lot of costume changes, so there's gonna be lost clothing all over the place.
Yeah. But we do find a secret tunnel when Scooby tries to pull the chain on a light bulb.
Yeah, because Velma's like, I can't see! Help! And then Sandy goes through a door, and Scooby jumps through it to try to help her. So, suddenly they're in another room. They're in a tunnel. What's going on in here? It's a prop room.
Mm-hmm.
But why is there a secret entrance?
That's the question. And then we also see newspapers where the ransom note has been clipped out of.
Yeah, so I guess this is where this guy has been chilling out in this weird prop room.
Now, there are several publications named. Here's my thing. Warner Brothers owns DC, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hear me out. They have on the little magazine newspaper rack, they have Life magazine and Vogue. But the newspaper that's on the table, where most of the ransom note letters came from, is the Daily Bugle.
Yep.
Now, for those of you who don't know, the Daily Bugle came from Marvel Comics, which is the newspaper that Spider-Man works for. Or I guess Peter Parker works for. Spider-Man doesn't work for them. Regardless. Did nobody at Marvel see this and think, maybe we shouldn't do that?
Yeah, but like the letters are cut out, so it's a reference.
Okay.
They didn't actually do it, so it's allowed.
Okay. Yeah, because they cut out was it the G in Bugle? Let me see.
So it's like you can tell if you're smart enough, but it's not fully there, so I would assume that's fine. So it's more of an Easter egg.
Yeah.
Rather than, ooh, copyright shit.
It's just an odd thing to put in here with all the other publications that are around.
Yeah.
Like they could put like the New York Times or the Washington Post or whoever.
Yeah. So they escape that room to go tell the rest of the gang, like, hello, we found the place. We found where the guy's stuff is. They're just like yelling down the hallway for a solid minute.
Is that a shenanigan? Just because
I think it might be. Also, why is like Shaggy's like outside the thing while Fred and Velma are like searching for them? Like,
yeah,
this
why
whole
is he
thing
outside?
of like them all just being in the wrong place is a shenanigan because they do the running into each other thing.
They literally run into each other.
Yeah. Alright, so they finally hear some yelling.
Yeah.
And they're like, we need to go towards it.
So now they see Daphne with the fake Hyde on top of a castle, I guess?
Yeah, there's a castle. She was yelling help so loudly that they could hear it from all the way over there. And now we get a gag on her because this wasn't enough.
Clearly. Also, has this man never seen a Sandy Duncan movie in his life? Wouldn't he know what she sounds like?
Apparently not. He doesn't know what she sounds like. She doesn't know what she looks like. He just went with the first person he thought it was.
First woman he came across, I guess.
Yeah. He's never seen a woman, actually.
Listen, people can have gay parents. That's not a bad thing.
What? Oh my god, Ethan.
What?
Notice. Okay. You just took that into a different level.
Yeah, I did.
Alright.
It's fine.
So, back to Scooby-Doo. The gang is like, they enter into like the weird wintry mountainous area, and there's like a ski lift there that goes near the castle. So they go onto the ski lift to try to get up near it. And then suddenly Hyde is leaving the castle. He's going down in a golf cart, because of course.
I don't know.
Yeah, but then comes our next shenanigan, which is Scooby jumping off the ski lift and him and Sandy Duncan going into a little...
big ol' snowball.
Not even like fully a snowball, but like certainly a ball of something. And then they fall into a sled, and now the whole gang is going on a sled down the mountain following Mr. Hyde, Gremlin Man dude.
Gremlin Man.
But they're going down the wrong way. Because there's like two roads, I guess. And he went down one road and they're going towards the other road. Like, oh no, we need to turn. Make sure we can follow him. What are we gonna do? And then we get another shenanigan.
Yep.
So everybody goes like, first it's Scooby. He grabs onto the back of the sled, and then everybody grabs onto the back of each other. We just keep going until all of us have done this. And then we lose the sled, and then we are a sled, I guess.
They're sliding down on their stomachs.
Yeah, we're penguins now.
Yep.
We're sliding down this hill, and now we're at a cemetery.
Sure.
Fine. And Mr. Hyde is taking Daphne into the mausoleum. So we need a new plan for how to get them out. Thank God there's no other door to get them here. Because, like, wouldn't that have been your first thought of what happens? Is that he would have taken her somewhere else?
Yeah.
But, you know, Sandy comes up with a brilliant idea. Brilliant plan that does, in fact, work.
That's a shenanigan.
Yeah, her plan is a shenanigan because Mr. Hyde, Gremlin dude, is talking to Daphne. He's like, Miss Duncan, this is where I should have taken you in the first place. And then suddenly, Sandy is, like, talking very loudly outside the door and being like, oh, guys, thank you for saving me. We should go back to set. Oh, that gag was killing me. Acting as if she was the one who was kidnapped.
Yeah.
And Mr. Hyde, like, looks back at Daphne. He's like,
huh?
You're still here? What? Huh? Who? Huh?
And then Hyde opens the door and Jackie and Fred just slamming into the wall.
If you guys don't do some shenanigans like this,
there will be shenanigans. I can guarantee you that right now. It may not be me doing them, or at least starting them. I will participate.
I need someone to start the shenanigans, because
it's going to be Abby, because Abby is a chaos gremlin.
This is true. My girlfriend is in fact a chaos gremlin, and she's going to be playing Scooby. So I'm so excited. Okay, we finally unmasked this dude. And who is it?
And Xavier Z. Fairchild.
It's nobody we know.
Yeah. What was it? What was the point? What was the point of giving us 4 suspects? 4 that it could have been. And not one of them was the real person who did it.
Was this man even mentioned before?
No! Not even in reference. Like, they didn't mention, like, oh, Xavier really took it to heart when Mr. whatever his name is had to sell to a development company or whatever for motivation, but no, nothing like that.
Just not in existence whatsoever. I don't know, man. And then Sandy Duncan, the saint that she is, forgives this man for the fact that he didn't actually cause any harm, supposedly.
Daphne would argue with you there.
Yes, but this is Sandy Duncan. She's the star of the show here.
Yes, she is.
So she's just like, I'm gonna forgive him of his crimes, and, you know, we should just finish putting on the movie.
Yeah. And then they're like, hey, this guy has range. Surely there's something he can do.
I mean, listen, I will say this is, quite literally the most theater kid we've ever had.
This is true.
For good reason. He's literally
he's an actor.
I want to know how he was in 50 different places at once, but also...
Irrelevant.
But also, this man could do a one-man show and be every single part in different places at once, apparently. So...
I guess.
So, you know.
Yeah.
And then they finish the movie, and all of them have a cameo in the movie.
Yep.
And then Scooby's like, I love Sandy Duncan. I want to be with her forever. And she's like, oh, you can come to my next movie, Scooby. We're going to go to Africa, and I'm going to be with lions.
And Scooby's like, no.
Yeah.
And apparently Scooby hates rhinoceroses.
Canonically, Scooby-Doo hates rhinos.
You have to tell that to Abby now.
He would rather a ghost than a rhino. Yeah, I'm gonna tell Abby that she has a phobia of rhinoceroses.
And now you're going to find a way to get a rhino in there.
Listen, we're just... I feel like that might just have to be another thing, is that we're going to have to give each character a specific phobia on top of whatever the hell.
We already made up specific rules for them.
Yeah. Listen, I haven't stopped with the specific rules. I have not stopped. It's okay.
Oh.
It's okay.
Okay. Whatever. All right. Charlie, what time is it?
It's terror time again. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm dying.
Same.
My voice is dying also. So, let's do some trivia, guys. Hey, yo, did you know that Sandy implies that Shirley is not a natural redhead, making Daphne the only real redhead out of the three of them?
Good for her. I mean, redheads are pretty rare, so...
Hey, Ethan, did you know that Velma's also a redhead?
We've been over this.
I know. I just wanted to make fun of you.
Okay. I also didn't think Abby was a redhead, even though she is.
I know. You've had this discovery multiple times.
I know. I know.
Listen, redheads have more fun, okay?
You would know.
Alright, continue.
A remake of this episode was in Scooby-Doo and Guess Who, the dreaded remake of Jekyll and Hyde, which is in one of the more recent series, excluding the series we shall not name.
Yeah, literally 2020.
Yeah.
Very recent. Velma rarely makes use of visual jokes, but when escaping the Native Americans' arrow, she tucked her head into her shirt and then lifted it out. Which, once again, peak. I want more Velma doing visual jokes. I'm not gonna lie.
We talked about this during the episode too. The scene of Fred, Daphne, and Velma in the boat is used in the intro, but Daphne is using a purple dress and her hair's in a bun instead of her hair being down and green, as is in the episode here.
And I guess this episode was featured on House of Svengoolie Presents the Scooby-Doo Sunday Special Sunday. This brings things full circle after various Scooby-Doo films have featured Elvira, another B-movie horror host.
Elvira. Love her. So we get one count each of Zoinks, Rutro, Jinkies, and Gangway. That's neat.
Mr. Thayer is likely a parody of Louise B. Mayer, one of the founders and head of the Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer Studios from 1924 to 1951. So, MGM.
Nice. The idea of an actor living in a studio backlot was revisited in the live-action film The Phantom of Hollywood, which involves the destruction of MGM's backlot. I've never heard of this movie in my life.
I mean, go off.
Came out in 1974. That's interesting. Oh, it's a TV movie. That's why I've never heard of it.
Oh, and after this, too. So that means that, this inspired it, maybe.
Maybe.
Daphne mentions reporting the dragon to Smokey the Bear, the U.S. Forest Service wildfire prevention campaign mascot, when it sets a group of trees on fire. I forgot to make this reference, but I loved that when she said this.
Yeah. Okay. I said this earlier. When Sandy and Scooby are in the prop room, one of the newspapers the government used to America note is a copy of the Daily Bugle. Additionally, the paper features an image of Wilbur with protagonists from Charlotte's Web, with the headline Some Pig, a nod to the Hanna-Barbera produced adaptation of Charlotte's Web that would be released in the following year after this episode aired.
Oh,
I forgot that existed.
That's like Pixar references, because whenever Pixar does a movie, they reference the last movie
Future
they made
movies.
and the next movie they make.
Yeah.
I love that. And then Shaggy at one point coins the phrase "Mr. Hyde," I presume, which we've already done.
We've already covered this. Yeah.
It's a reference to the famous quote, "Dr. Livingston, I presume." Yada yada yada. But I'm pretty sure we literally had that in the other Jekyll and Hyde episode too.
We did.
Shaggy's referencing himself.
This is just a bit now, I guess.
In a different Scooby-Doo episode.
I suppose.
Apparently. Wow.
All right, yeah. Charlie.
How many shenanigans do we have today, my dude?
22.
Okay.
So not bottom of the barrel, but not beating anything either. Though I would
Yeah.
love to see another episode beat the Don Knotts episode, which is our current leader with 25 shenanigans.
I don't want it to happen because that's the most iconic episode, and it's the most important one to me. So
Valid. So updating the rankings here, we've also in a tie for second, we have the Frickin' Fracas with Jonathan Winters and A Good Meme is Rare, Phyllis Diller with 24. And then in third, we have the Dynamic Scooby-Doo Affair, the Batman and Robin episode 23, this episode, the Addams Family episode, and the first episode of The Three Stooges, in that order.
Yep. Can't believe the Three Stooges had the least amount of shenanigans.
We also didn't really know we were counting as shenanigans at that time. That may change when they come back later in the series.
Oh yeah. I did recently rewatch this entire show, and I was like, wow, their second episode way better.
Well, that's good, because I don't really like that one that much.
I mean, to be fair, the first one, there was a lot going on that we were confused about anyway. Yeah. And
for
then
sure.
There was also the racist aspects. So the second one becomes a lot more focused, I feel, comparatively.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. There's an amount of shenanigans that is always good in a Scooby-Doo episode, but there's also when something is more focused and it knows what the heck it's doing, it's also good.
Yeah.
And that episode was just neither, really.
Yeah. All right, Charlie, where are we ranking this episode out of 5 Scooby Snacks?
Oh boy. I mean, I enjoyed it, but the mystery itself has me confused. So many things in this episode have me confused. So I want to give it maybe mid, maybe 2.5.
Okay. I was gonna say 3, so that makes it easy for me. 2.75.
So that means it's one of our lowest.
It's not the lowest.
The second
that
lowest.
honor goes to the Addams Family episode.
Because the episode did not have enough Addams Family.
True.
I think the other thing about that episode is that we all just agreed 2.5.
Yeah,
so we didn't
I think
even
we
have to
did.
average it.
I think we did. Just for math's sake.
And for whose side we're on in this episode?
I don't know. This is hard.
You know what?
Because, on one hand, think of it like this, right? On one hand, you have whatever his name was, kidnapping who he thought was Sandy Duncan and holding her for ransom. But it's hard for actors to find work. So, I can't really fault him for wanting to keep his job, but I also don't like the fact that he kidnapped somebody.
I think I'm just on Daphne's side this episode.
Yeah, we can roll with that.
In her corner, because this was her most damsel-y episode.
It was, yeah, so by far.
I don't think anything can top this yet, because she was kidnapped for 10 minutes of the episode.
Yeah, for sure.
Just specifically Daphne. She needs it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's this episode of Mysteries in the Machine. I'm tired.
Me too.
This episode just had me so confused for so long.
Same.
But Sandy Duncan was cute.
Yeah, she did her best.
She did her best. Yeah, well, y'all, we're gonna go split up and look for clues for our next mystery. Bye!
Bye.
You can follow this podcast socials at Mysteries in the Machine Pod on Instagram. You can send a message to our email, mysteriesinthemachinepod@gmail.com. Be sure to give us a rating, a review, or let your friends and followers know how much you love the podcast. That really helps. You can follow me, Charlie at GreenPixie12 on most platforms. I also have an art Instagram at GreenPixieDraws.
You can find me, Ethan, on Instagram and Threads at ethan.t.hewlin. Our music was written and produced by Jason Hilton. You can find him at Negative Selections on Instagram.
Now we can start that thing that we do about Scooby-Doo.
Hey!